You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, we are officially in June, which is officially Pride Month, and I've definitely been having a good time. It's been, a month. And as you all been seeing, my Instagram and Twitter and all my social media, I've been out in these streets. Like, I have been out and about for Pride Month. It's a lot, as you can imagine. To be black and queer means that February and June is always a lot, in different ways. And, we'll get more in that in the episode, but it's always a lot. Because the straights in June are doing the most and the whites are doing a lot in February. So it's a lot. But yeah, it's been a month, right? We're what? We're like a month in. I mean, weekend feels like a month, right? I'm like, damn, bring on July. But no, it's been like less than a week in June, and so much has went down. So I've been really first off, you all heard the news. I made it on the City and State Pennsylvania's Pride Power 100 list, which was dope. I never expect to get on these things, but when I do, it's always great. They had a celebration in the neighborhood at a new bar called Cockatoo, which Cockatoo, but it's owned by a person of color, not a black person, an Indian owner who's also queer, and he owns Cockatoo, which is the old Maison 208, which was the Haitian-owned restaurant that was previously there, and then they closed down, and then Cockatoo came right in, no pun intended, and people like it. I haven't really been in the neighborhood, it's been many years since I've gone and really been at a restaurant or bar, but the location is popping. It's right next to Woody's, which y'all already know how I feel about that place. Wishbone is nearby, right? It's between Wishbone and Woody's. Which again, these all the names, but Wishbone is straight owned and it's all over Philadelphia. But that I don't even know why Wishbone is still open. That chicken is so nasty. But I guess somebody likes the the pretzel crusted chicken. I guess. Yeah, I guess. Ugh. And that macaroni and cheese is weird there too. Not really crazy about it, but maybe this invasion of Raising Cane's that's happening. There is a Raising Cane's that's about to happen on Temple, and there's another Raising Cane's that's going to be also coming around the Philadelphia area. So that will make 3 Raising Cane's coming to Philadelphia this year. There's one in University City that's already packed and jam packed. But listen, y'all, real quick pro tip about the whole Raising Cane's craze. I have the Raising Cane's app, which is free. You can get it on Android, Apple, whatever, right? Your iPhone, whatever. Download the app, order your food to go, okay, and pick up your food like a regular person. Take your food and go home. Okay, so the cool thing is my barbershop is in that area. I've gone to the same barbershop for my entire 12 years I've been living in Philadelphia. Okay, First Decisions on 40th. My go-to, my barbershop, love it, okay? They were actually on CBS 3 this week for those who still watch local TV. There was a special on gun violence, timely, right? That they did with Yuki Washington, who's a legend, who, was moderating this conversation, and a lot of the male patrons, many of whom are black, of course, were there, and they were just sharing their experiences, their thoughts on gun violence. It was pretty good. It was a really good special. It was 30 minutes, and I watched it, of course, because I knew all the guys in the shop, so they were all giving their different mixed opinions about gun violence in Philly and everything else, and it was great to watch. But what I do now is that every time I go get my hair cut, That is my excuse to go get some Raising Canes. Or when I get my nails done, because I also go to my good Judy, which is Lux Nails, which is also on 40th, but across on the other end. And they're right next to that Hip City Veg. I get my nails done there. And as you all know, I just did some Pride themed nails that are like awesome with a rose gold sparkle. And it is fabulous. I really love these nails. And I also, for the first time ever in my life, got my toenails done, but they're done with actual glitter. Normally, what I do is when I get my pedicure, I get my toenails covered just clear. But I said, you know what? I got some flip flops. I want to wear flip flops, and in my mind said if I wanted to wear flip flops, I wanted to have a reason to wear them. I wanted something to be stylish. So I got these lovely glittery toenails done, and they're nice. And I have good feet. Like I take good care of my feet, and so it's not a mess. So I said, look, for people who didn't think that the hands, the face was given enough, the feet also give too. I just used to cover them up. So I have some Croc flip flops that I just got. These I call them Barbie pink because it's like a really nice hot pink, and I call it Barbie pink. And I've been rocking them. They're brand new, and I got some other Crocs too. But look, it's Croc season, and apparently hoochie short season. But we're gonna get into that later. But yeah, I've been doing my thing. But with this Raising Cane's app, what I do is I order it, and I don't order it too soon. You have to, because what's funny is that although there are like crazy lines and all that and whatnot, the delivery, the pickup situation is pretty fast. So I'll, order my food, for pickup, and take about maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 backs, and the food is ready. And they like alert you on the app and everything. So like after I get my cut, I'll get my cut, put my order in. By the time my cut is wrapping up, it's ready. I'm like, cool, get up, take care of my cut or my nails, whatever. Well, my nails take longer, but like when I'm closer to the end, I'm like, okay, let me place my order. By the time I walk over there, my food's ready, get it, go home, devour it. Like that, yeah, just if you're like really trying to understand how to make that situation better, because there were people I know that were waiting in line, and like I bumped into somebody I knew, and I was like, okay, so are you waiting in line to go in and eat? Because first of all, that's like a club. Like it's like club Raising Cane's, and people laugh at me, but I'm like, people are actually out here waiting in line like they're going to a club. I like it's chicken tenders, y'all. Now, mind you, it's good. I like it. Some people mixed thoughts, but I think it's good, right? It ain't worth all that. Like no fast food spot is worth all that waiting in line to go in and eat. That's just like you're doing the most, okay? If there's availability and there's no wait, I mean, yeah, by all means, go get your food, sit down and eat. But like to sit up and to be waiting for like 30 minutes or whatever, like it's a cut, like you're going to the club, that's just a lot. And the crazy part to me is that if you're not planning to eat there, why are you waiting in line to order when you could just simply do that on the app and then just walk there and have your food ready? It was odd because I bumped into someone. I was like, "Oh, are you waiting to eat in there?" They're like, "No, I'm just waiting for the order." I'm like, "How long you been out here?" They're like, "Oh, about 8 minutes." I said, "You know, the time you're waiting in this line, you could have just ordered with the app and then picked up your food and you're ready." It's like, "Oh, I didn't even know that." I'm like, "Yeah, y'all get on it." And I'm not really, I wasn't paid by Raising Cane's to promote this. This is not a commercial, but I just thought it was a public service given all the craze over it. So, take it or leave it. But nonetheless, when I was not eating, Raising Cane's and doing my thing on that front, I was out at these events, okay? Because, I am doing Pride but I'm doing Pride grown-up style. Like I am not doing sweaty clubs. I'm not doing all that. I'm doing like VIP. I'm doing grown shit. I'm going places that, are elevating. Like I'm going to drag shows in upscale hotels. Okay. So I did the drag brunch tea grand opening weekend. They're doing shows. The Philly Gay Drag Mafia. I think it is Philly Drag Mafia. I think that's the name. Ian Morrison, who is Brittany Lynn, the famous drag queen, in Philly, they're leading this great show that's pretty dope. I mean, it's like bombless mimosas, the tea cakes, and all of the tea sandwiches and all that, and the macaroons. It's a cute little tower. The tea is really good, and it's a really dope experience. And look, you just come to the drag show and they perform. They get fun. They do splits and river dancing. I won't give it away, but it's a great show. And this is the second year I've gone. Last year, Jamarcus and I went. So you probably heard me talk about this before. But they also do it at the Wayward as well. But the one in Sofitel is pretty good too. So that's happening every weekend this month, and it was so popular last year they even went into July, even though Pride Month was over. So get your tickets, check it out. It was really dope, and I had a good time, and I loved it because I don't really do drag shows at the bars anymore. It's just too much going on. I'm just over like crowds. I'm really getting. I don't know if the word is claustrophobic because I don't mind a crowd sometimes, but maybe I like a crowd of like just I don't know. I need I don't know. I need space. I also think yes, I have been a little bit more relaxed. It's still a pandemic, but I'm also still kind of like, oh, I just can't be out here. So I'm very mindful about where I go and my interactions and things like that because it's still a lot going on. I'm just not anybody, okay? Um, so Sofitel was dope. It was a really great drag show. Let me think where else? Because a lot of people go to Bob and Barbara's and people like that. Um, Again, I just can't do all of. I don't know. But the goal to be able to have it daylight time cute, it's you know the straights were there, and I was happy because people get it. Like a long time ago, when people went to drag shows, they didn't understand. You need to come in there with a stack of ones, okay? Like at least if you're going to a drag show that's like what 90 minutes, or hour, come with at least if it's with the performance, come with at least about 30-40 bucks at once, okay, and tip the performers. That's part of the fun of the show. Is they're lip singing for their life. They're doing everything. They're earning their keeps. Okay. So I had a joke on Instagram. I was like saying I have a stack of ones. I'm not going to a strip club. Where am I going? All right. A lot of you all were right. You were like, oh, it must be a drag show. Some of you all were saying other things that was not correct, and that's okay. But some of the answers, I was like, why are you bringing ones to that? But listen, let me mind my business. But no, the correct answer was a drag show. Bring ones, people. Okay, buying your ticket to get in is like the gate. Like it's like the entry level. It's like the main. It's like the entry level. It's like the main admission part. It's like applying to college. You're not admitted just because you submit an application. All right. So paying for a ticket to go is not. Come with your ones. That's part of the show. So the girls, most of the girls came with the one. So it was a good vibe because they knew what time it was. When you are going to Sofitel for a drag show, I kind of feel like you are looking for that VIP level experience because you're a pro at this. You know how this goes. Okay. But sometimes, with media previews, sometimes people come and they don't know what the drill is. So. But you know how it goes. But yeah, I've been going out for Pride, with my boys, Jamarcus, of course, and Josh, and George and I are going to be doing some things later this week. My crew's intact, and my good girl Sharon was out. We're just going out for some of the events. They're coming and supporting. This Pride Power 100, this was a fabulous event. My homegirl Laura was there. It was just a nice crowd. And I saw a couple of people. Y'all, I saw Malcolm Kenyatta, just because y'all asked me. Yes, he was at the Pride Power 100. I guess he done something to get on the list. I mean, clearly he's, he was there giving one of his boring speeches. He was getting heckled by some people there, which was not classy, not cute, Philly. I felt bad for him. I listened to half his speech and I went downstairs to the bar, but I showed my respects. He did the keynote, which was, I don't know. I just feel like once you lose an election, he's doing exactly what Pete Buttigieg is doing, except I don't know if he's going to go back and to do real work or if he's just going to find a way to, grift off of this, like make a bunch of movies and books and shit to try to like keep the story going. But maybe he'll reflect and be a great state rep because he's still a state rep in Pennsylvania. So, he's like the only. Well, it's like maybe one other gay, I think. So it's like two people. But Brian is gone. Sims is out of politics. He lost his bid for lieutenant governor and he resigned from state rep. So I think he's still a state rep this year. But like after this wraps up and they put the new class of state reps or whatever for starting in 2023 January 1st, and they get sworn in and everything, then he's out of the House and out of the Philly political elected scene after like 10 years of being in office. So it's about time, to be honest. Let's be real, it's about time. So it's a lot. It's been an interesting week for sure. So much has been going on. Went to a play, went to a musical in the Arden, saw Into the Woods, which let me just tell you all, this was good. It was great. I was impressed. And musicals live, the last time I went to a musical, well, I saw Beautiful, which is the Carol Cole. That was fabulous. What else did I see that I did? I saw something oh, Hamilton. Yeah, I saw Hamilton in Philly. And you know how I feel about Hamilton. But I got tickets, so I went. It wasn't, hated it. Wasn't crazy about it. Um, I saw, what did I see that I liked? Yeah, it was a beautiful Carol Cole. And then Mr. Johnson and I are going to New York. Yes, we're going to be those traveling Philadelphians. We're going to New York in July for like a little mini vacation. We're going to go see a great Broadway musical. I'll tell you when I see it, and I will tell you what it is, but you might probably guess it, or maybe not. But we're going, and we're going to go also see friends in New York and make a trip and have a cute little trip and things. It's really what he wants to do. Like, I'm very anti New York. Like, I hate New York. I don't hate New York, but I'm just like, if I don't have any business in New York, literally, I don't go to New York. So it's like my first time going to New York as like a quote unquote tourist. Like going and giving them my money. Like every time I find issues to, give Philly my money or, show out, I'm like doing staycations all day. So this is kind of different for me. But he's got some things and we're doing things. The plan is, and this was the rule that we made for each other. We were going to do things in New York that were only in New York. We were going to do, eat, and see things that we could not see anywhere else. Because if that was the case, we could do it in Philly, or we could just not do it, or whatever. But we've gone to AC, we've done Atlantic City, but like I like Ocean Atlantic City, that resort. I love it. I fell in love with it. I love the restaurants there. I love the cabana. That was cute because I don't really like the beach. Well, I don't like any beaches on the East Coast, if that makes sense. Like, listen, I grew up in Texas, baby. I was in Houston. So, we got Galveston Beach. I done been to beaches in Peru, Accra, Tel Aviv. I done been to some real beaches. So let's be very clear. I'm not beach phobic, but I'm not really impressed with American beaches like that. Unless the ones in the South, which I haven't been in Florida, but I love Galveston Beach. Like I love, this is, like real water. Like some of this water is a little dirty over here in the East Coast. Like I'm not crazy about Jersey Shore like that. Like when I was in Atlantic City, we were at the Cabana, which was in the Cabanas in Ocean Resort, which they had their own pools and things. Where I like the scenery and the view, but I wasn't getting in the water in Atlantic City. So I was in a cute little pool above the sand or whatever. Now these are first world problems. Let me not bore you, but like just yeah. And I think I've talked about this. Like I hate like this idea like where I'm gonna go places to go to the beach versus immersing in culture and food and things. Like if I'm traveling, I want to immerse myself in those things. But anyway, we're going to New York and we're going to things that are like New York centric. Like I hate when I see people go to New York and they're like, "Oh, I'm in New York. I'm going to Olive Garden," because they realize that they didn't come with the right money, right? Because what I love about Philly, and my besties know, it's Roots Picnic this weekend. I didn't go to Roots Picnic, but a lot of my friends from New York and other places that came for Roots Picnic, they also realized, that's right, Ernest is in Philly. That bitch is in Philly. So they hit me up and they were like, "Yo, you want to go to, let's get together, let's catch up. What's some great places to go?" So I caught up with some people. We went to some little dinners and, mixed and mingled around town. I took them to some couple of spots and caught up with some folks and learned some things and got some hot media tea this weekend. That's none of my business, but, it's fun to hear. And really had a good time. But like, I love showing people Philly. Like, I feel like a Philly ambassador. I am a Philly ambassador. So I love showing people the spots to go. And every time they come here, they're like, "Wow, these prices." Now, I know people are complaining about prices in Philly, but folks living in New York, they come to Philly, they love it. But you know what I do, y'all? Because I gotta stay loyal to the area. I tell them to take their asses back home afterwards. We don't need so many New York transplants coming into Philly. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not promoting Philly in a way to tell them to bring their asses here. I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 baby, you don't want to be here like that. You don't stay too long now." They be like, "Oh, I might want to live here." No, 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 go back, go back, no, no, go back. That's why the rent's going up around here, because they're bringing their asses here with their little salaries and shit. They're trying to crack the Da Vinci Code. They looking like, maybe I could take a train here. Not no 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 no. You don't want to be here. Don't check out Broadway over there. It's cute. Listen, this is cute for a little escape. You don't want to be here. Like, I really don't want like New Yorkers come to Philadelphia living, but it's always cute to flex and show off a little bit the city because, there's always a bunch of reasons for people to talk shit about Philly. And listen, there are reasons to talk shit about Philly, but then there's those moments like, hey, we do have the best like BYOB scene in the country. I will tell you that much. We do have a lot of cool, eclectic places to eat that's reasonably priced. Now, some places do the most, but those places weren't for us anyway. Let's be real. But there are some decent places to go to, some real cool spots that are cool and very, very cool, and even cool that we need to stop trying to act like New York had everything cool. But listen. So, and I'm telling myself that the more I talk about this, the more I'm gonna be like, why am I in New York spending $700 for 2 nights in a hotel? Okay, enough. I'm taking this in. I'm taking it in. I'm taking it in. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have a good time. Ernest in New York. It's a thing. But I'm going with my husband, so that's different. Like when it's two people, it's fun because going to New York by myself is like what it was in New York. I don't want anything in New York, but my friend Abel, our Barry's best man, and our wedding, he moved to New York. He's gonna probably get annoyed with me that I'm saying this, but like I am just so upset that he's back in New York. He should be in Philly. And he's going to listen to this podcast and he's going to be like, no, you should be here. You should be here. Because you should be here, because you're in Jersey. And I'm not going to say to go back to Jersey because no one goes back to Jersey. But like, you should be here in Philly. But I know it. You like saying you're in New York. Like you like what's being hyped about being in DC. But you should be here in Philadelphia. But I get it. I guess. Everybody like, oh, I like New York. I'm like, but you're not even balling. Listen, people like to go to New York. They get a little cute little check or something, and they ready to go to New York. I'm like, listen, you can stretch your money here in Philadelphia. You really could. Maybe I should write my next book, The Case for Philadelphia. Like, the case for council culture is popping, but maybe the book should be The Case for Philadelphia. I don't know. I have thoughts. And I was a part of the next upcoming issue of Philadelphia Magazine, the July issue. You'll understand why I'm feeling all the feels I'm feeling about this conversation about Philly. But we'll talk about that then. And I'm happy you all read my piece about being a jaded millennial, about the political system and everything in Philadelphia. That's in the June issue. Print. It's also online. Check it out. Read it. Love it. Yada, yada, yada. All right. So I loved Into the Woods. Thought it was great at the Arden. Was a great musical. Bang for your buck. If you're like debating whether you should go out, this is the first musical the Arden has done in like 2 years. The last time was Ragtime, which goes way back. But this was great. It was fun. It was creative. It was a different way of Into the Woods that I never thought I would imagine seeing. It's gender reversing. It's interracial. It's great. Watch it. So I know what you all want me to talk about. I guess I will get into it. Because it's the personal section, like life updates, before we get into like everything else. Before I say this, I had brunch with my good girls, Nina and Sam, who listens to this podcast religiously. And that was a good ass brunch. I just want to add that. We went to White Dog Cafe. One of my favorite, brunch places in Philadelphia. Like top 3. And probably not number 3. But I love White Dog. That is like one of my favorite. You could catch me if you like to star watch and spot me places. There are a couple of places you could, if you roll the dice well, you might spot me there within 3 months. Like I'm there regularly. You might catch me there on a weekend or something if you pay attention. But White Dog is one of the places that you'll catch me at. That's like a place I love. Every time I mostly go out with my pen friends because that was like our place when we were in college because it's right there in University City and it's just good. It's fucking good food. It's a great brunch. It's fabulous. It's fun. It's grown. It's sexy. It's pretty. It's just timeless. And it's just great food. And I always get the same thing when I go. I always get the pork belly Benedict for brunch. It never gets old. And I get the eggs scrambled, not poached. You can call me basic, whatever. But I don't really like runny egg for brunch. It's me. I know. I should get familiar. I used to didn't like oysters and now I love oysters, but that's not the story for another day. Okay. So as you all know, I think I've told on the podcast, I'm moving. I've been planning a move. I'm moving. I'm not leaving Philadelphia. I just want to move. I've been living in the same apartment with my husband for 5 years. And as you can imagine, my life has changed in 5 years. The money I'm making, I'm married now. I came there with the bachelor's. I'm now leaving with a master's. and different job titles and work and things. But I one I just have I don't like moving. I hate moving. The process of moving. Because I once I'm comfortable somewhere, I'm kind of like I'm loyal to it. Like I'm like that with a lot of things. If it's not broke, I don't fix unless I'm forced to. So, for example, I don't switch phones. I've kept the same cell phone model that is currently in my hand for the past 3 years. Like I'm not one of those people that have to change my cell phones every year. My husband is like that. It's like, oh, there's a new blah 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 model. I'm like, it's the same fucking phone. I don't know what the difference is, but a new little gadget that you don't fucking need. And I'm also team Android, by the way. But I don't like what is this? Like I'm very like my friends are like as much as I'm like all high maintenance and A-lister, all that cute stuff people like to say about me, which is sometimes accurate. Like I'm like that about my food. I don't play with my food. But like my cell phone, like I have the same cell phone I've had for 3 years and it does what it needs to do, right? I go viral on it, I curse people out on it, I make good phone calls. I've had the same fucking phone for 3 years. I'm not someone who likes to change models. Um what else? Like I just don't change the so like that's how I'm about living. Like the current place I live in, I'm like, I like it. I mean, it's aging on me to be honest, because like as you all know, I got all of this stuff for my wedding and I haven't opened a lot of these boxes. So now it feels smaller in here. But in a perfect world, I would love to like stay here and get a two-bedroom or something. I don't know. But there's no two bedrooms here. Like studios and one-bedroom apartments. And my bestie lives in my same apartment building now, which is awesome. So like once that happened, I was like, okay, well Jamarcus is here. Like, I want to stay. But I love West Philly. I live in West Philadelphia, University area, all that. I want to stay in West Philly. So that's the first of all, I need to stay in West Philly. I want to stay in University. I want to stay in this area. I want to be here. I don't want to go to Center City. I don't want to live in Old City, Fishtown, everywhere else. I'm no shade to the other areas, but this is just my comfort zone. I just feel good here. And not so much is going on over here. I mean, it's stuff, but like I don't know. I just love this area. So when I first left Penn in 2014, I moved into an apartment. No, I lived in the studio apartment. That was like $450 a month, which some of you will probably know about this from previous podcasts. And then 2017, when Mr. Johnson graduated from Penn, I was like, okay, clearly we can't. Clearly we were gonna live together, right? Which was like we dated at that point. We were like 3 years together. So I was like, yeah, we were living together, and yeah, we were very inseparable. But we was it was like clearly we can't live in the studio. It was like we have to upgrade. So I found a place that was not too far from my studio in West, and it was a one-bedroom apartment, one bathroom, very spacious. At the time, it felt big as hell. I was like, oh, this is perfect for us. And for many years, it was. Now my lease is up, which I didn't have a 5-year lease, but I like kind of signed like 2-year increments. And then last year I started to do 1-year increments because I realized that I couldn't, I wasn't going to stay for like another 2 years, which would have been a total of 6 years. I knew that once, I think it was a year we got engaged, which was 2019. 2020, our other lease was up, and I think we did one more or something like that. But it was like, I knew I wasn't doing another year, like a 2-year situation. So I think one of the years we decided, like, I think after Penny was going to do like one more final year, and that was it. So I think it was like 2017, 2019. Then I think, 2019, I think it was 2021. And then 2021, we decided, which was last year, the year we was getting married, we decided, okay, that was going to be last year. And we was going to wrap it up. And then the following year, which is next year, 2023, we was going to, move out and get somewhere bigger because of God is shit. And we also, our quality of living, our lifestyle has changed too. He got a new job. We both are gainfully employed. We're doing our thing. It just doesn't make sense to live here anymore. But I still miss it. It's just, I love this. I love the area. So we said, okay, we're going to go out here. Our lease is up at the end of August, at the end of the summer, at the end of August. So I was like, okay, so let me start looking for new places. So I found some. We were looking online, doing our thing and recommendations. Found a really nice 2-bedroom situation. It was the apartment was pretty perfect. I mean, it was in University. It was 2 bedrooms, one master bathroom, and then a half bathroom for guests. And that was what we wanted to do. We wanted to do a 2-bedroom. 1 bedroom would be for the office. So like I want to put this entire studio, like my podcast, I wanted to have its own room. I wanted to, have other stuff there that could work as an office, but also be my podcast studio, be my place where I could do TV appearances and stuff. And if Mr. Johnson wants to do virtual bartending events and things like that, like we have like one room that is designated for that. Because right now, the way our place is set up, we got like our bedroom is really big. So like half of a corner of the bedroom is for the podcast, and then inside the living room we have some space there. And he has like a bar table, and he does his visuals and virtuals there because it's also near the kitchen where he can get the fruit and everything for his bartending stuff for his business. So we've been making it work. I mean, listen, we make it work over here, but we're in a place where we don't have to make it work. We can just really do it up. So, we saw this place. It was pretty. It was good. It had an upstairs. So there was an upstairs and downstairs, even though it was a one bedroom apartment. So I was like impressed with that off the jump. Like there's an upstairs, like there's stairs, there's levels to this shit. Like, so it's like I could go upstairs, the half bathroom and the studio, or the one other bedroom is upstairs. And then downstairs, there's the big living room, the kitchen, the dining room area, the washer and dryer room, the master bathroom, which is connected to the bedroom. I just was like, oh my God, this is like a perfect layout. This is pretty nice. And I'm going to throw some shade at another realtor in a minute because there's some tea to be spilled on this podcast. So, run and tell that. So we go, we're like, you know what? We like this tour. I'm going to tell you about the other place, but I'm going to tell you about this place. So this is OCF Realtors, which is owned by Ori Febich, who ran for city council against Kenyatta Johnson. And there's tons of articles about that messy spat. He's a white guy. Kenyatta Johnson, as you all know, council member, is a black guy. There was a lot of beef. There was a lot of conversations about racism and tension and stuff on the internet. There's a lot of things that was said about that race and the tension and gentrification and conversations. A lot was said. A lot was said back then. But, I didn't put too much thought into it at the time because at the time, like right where I'm at right now, I'm just trying to move into a nice place. So I didn't really read into it. I didn't know who the realtors were. I mean, I saw when I looked on, I think it was Zillow, but I wasn't reading too much into it. I was like, I'm just trying to go here. But a couple of people were telling me like, hey, watch out. I've heard stories about their realty company or whatever. And this, that, and third. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm already doing this tour. We'll see. That was my attitude. I wasn't going to go off the wire. I was just like, let me just, do this tour. So we do the tour with this lady. It was weird because there was a vibe. And you just know when you're getting a tour. Black people, y'all know this. Where you're doing a tour and you can walk in, you can feel the energy based on the person. She just and it was an energy like she didn't really feel like, I didn't feel like she was taking us seriously. The tour was like half-ass. It was obvious that, I don't know, that apparently the tenants, I don't know if they were aware we were there. They might have known, but they were just kind of like still in the room. So they were in the bedrooms while we were there. And I'm kind of like, well, if I'm in here, I would like to be getting a tour in a space where the tenants are not present. She said like, oh, she let them know in advance, but it felt like someone was in there still talking in the master bedroom when I'm like waiting to go in. And like, time is money. So it's like, we were trying to tour. She doesn't really direct us where everything is. We're kind of walking and figuring out. I'm trying to figure out the pictures, but she's not really like, giving us this really vibrant, hey, here is the room with this. It's like we got to walk our asses through it and figure out things. But I was like, you know what? Maybe it's her. I'm not, this doesn't speak to the rest of the company. Maybe not. But I don't know if she's having a bad day. I don't know what the vibes are. I'm just like, you know what? Okay. So went in. I liked the place. Mr. Johnson was like, yes, we could do it. We could live here. I could see where things could go. And I will say why we said that because of where we went to before. So we do this tour, everything. So we're leaving out, and I'm making a point to talk to her, like say to her, hey, what's the process? Because she, what's after this? I said, this is my husband. We're married. We're gonna, we want to apply to live here. And she's like, oh, that's cool. That's wonderful. Just text me back and tell me you're interested, and I'll give you the details about the applications. And I'm like, okay, cool. It was just kind of quick. I was like, all right. So I texted her, said, hey, I like it. Want to follow up. She says, okay, great. Send me both of your email addresses. I was like, okay, cool. So when she sends us these, she sends us both applications. And she says we both have to apply individually and we both have to pay an application fee because we were both going to be living inside the apartment. My whole argument and my whole mindset then was kind of like, well, wait a minute. We are married. So I don't know why we have to both do applications, both have to pay application fees. Like if you got to do a credit check for one of the people, but we're together. And she was just like, well, you both are going to be signing the lease, right? I'm like, yeah. Well, you both need to do the application separately. I'm like, okay. 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 Weird. I said, okay, well, whatever. So we both applied. He applies, I apply. Some days pass. She hits me back and says, hey, Mr. Owens, referring to me, the realtor company comes back. So it's not her at this point. She gave me the tour, but and helped me get to the application. But now it's the realtor person comes and they say, oh, can you send us your taxes? We want to make sure that we provide everything for the owner to review and everything. So I'm like, my taxes for what? Because I gave my pay stubs, my bank information, all that. They're like, oh, your tax information for your business. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, here's the, my most recent taxes and everything. So I give them that. They say, perfect, thank you, great, receive, thank you. Cool. So a couple of days pass, and then we get an email back from them, and they basically tell us that they gave us a condition that they didn't reject us and say, we're not going to approve it. They said that that they would approve it based on the condition that we would get a co-signer who can have that has good credit, can show, solid, financial backgrounds and history so that will make the owner know and feel comfortable and guarantee that the rent will be paid. That they would be guaranteed rent. Like as if to ensure that that they would get their rent on time. Y'all, when I tell you, first of all, this apartment, y'all about to laugh, is only $1,400. Is it 14? It was like $14.95 a month. Like basically $1,500 a month. Y'all, I'm not going to rationalize this. I'm not even going to try to, because when you try to rationalize bullshit, you become an idiot. I'm not even going to rationalize it. Not $1,400 a piece, $1,400 a month. You think that me and my husband, both gainfully employed, y'all know the receipts. I don't gotta go there. Cannot afford $1,500 a month for rent? No criminal records. 5-year, both of us co-signed and lived on my last lease for 5 years. No credit history problems, no bad credit, no, bankruptcies, foreclosures, criminal records, anything. None of that. History, no evictions, none of that. Both got gainfully employed jobs, business thriving, money. Trying to figure out what the fuck I would need a co-signer for 2 grown-ass men for a $1,500 a month apartment. So I wrote y'all, because y'all already know. Like I can hear you all gasping, sighing, taking a, are you fucking, I know that moment, right? Because that's the moment I'm having. I had. So I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, I'm confused. So I sent them the longest, when I tell you I have never cursed an institution out, I thought I've cursed institutions out before, because I have. But when I tell you that I read them to filth, and the most sharpest, quickest, swiftest, listen, I got them the fuck together in that email. My husband was like, oh my God, but I'm like, no, I got it. And I tore their asses up quickly. I went to Yelp, wrote a review that made the point very clear. If you're a Black and queer married couple, I don't recommend you going to OCF Realty. I Facebook reviewed, I Googled reviewed, I tweeted and Instagram. Y'all saw it. About 30 minutes after I sent that email and I did all those things because I was pissed as hell. First of all, because y'all know where I'm at with this. What else? A co-signer? Really? Okay. So Ori Febich, who's the owner of OCF, he emailed me, was like, can we talk? I understand if you don't want to talk, all of that. I called him. He called me. We had a conversation. And my whole thing with him was, the first thing I think I said to him was like, you don't think I can play this motherfucking rent, Ori? I was like, I'm not doing the good morning. I mean, I'm just straight with it. You don't think I can pay for this rent, Ori? You don't think I can afford this rent? Are you serious? Are you fucking... I was just angry. And he was trying to reassure me that his agents are the people. So I'm just saying to him, like, the whole time I was talking, I was like, this is insulting. And I broke down to him this entire process and how problematic this entire situation was, from the moment I got that tour to the application situation to the fact that I felt like the way this application was treating both me and my husband, like we weren't a couple. Like, first of all, we wear our rings. But, white people don't see black gay men as couples. They don't believe we could be married. They probably was thinking, oh, these are two homies or whatever. But they didn't read us as a couple. It was given discrimination. It was discriminatory as fuck. I told them all of this, y'all. I laid them out. I said, this was problematic. I was offended. This is disrespectful. Nothing you can tell me. I can't live here. Like, this unit is cursed. I will never live here. I do not want the property. I don't want anything. I was very articulate. I was very fucking clear. He tried to tell me about how their company have a very diverse staff and all this. I'm like, that doesn't matter. I don't fuck. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. Whatever. Okay. I said, but let me explain to you why. How did this get like this? So he said that they don't really read all the nuances and details of the application, and that there could be work that the response to me wasn't directed towards me, which doesn't make any sense. But the wording and the way that it came across, that it was a generic message that was sent, and that they need to do a better job with their sensitivity and how they say things, convey things, and he apologizes, like he gives me the utmost apology, and was like, hey, listen, it was a misunderstanding, and you're approved. I will give you first month's rent free. If you want to look at some other properties. And I'm just sitting to myself thinking, like, in this moment, and so I'm just like floored. Because all this is hitting me. Because once this shit went out, it went viral. Like, y'all, listen, y'all went in, okay? Y'all was going the fuck in. And I appreciate that. Because, it's a lot there. But, like, y'all went ham. And it was a lot. And I'm just like, oh, my God, do I say no? Do I say guess what I say? I was like, listen, you can email me. You can, whatever. But, like, I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I'm disgusted. I've made it very clear. First of all, for me, in that moment, there were several things and reactions I was processing. First of all, let me just let y'all know on this podcast. All of you realtors, stop trying to sell me something. I'm fine. This is one of many options I'm going to explore. Please do not sell me anything. I don't need you to sell anything. I don't want to live anywhere else. Keller Williams, leave me alone. Like, all of you realtors, leave me alone. Just all of y'all, just go away. I got a friend who I know everybody in the mama sell property. It was not that. I just leave me alone. Because that was part. I'm like, listen, I'm expressing a very traumatic and triggering experience, and what I don't need is for somebody to get my DM trying to sell something to me. Capitalism can take a break, please. Like, the conversation isn't, oh, give me something now. The conversation is, this is fucked up. Can we take a moment? Like, people just want to sell. That wasn't the reason why I was pissed off. I wasn't pissed off because I couldn't have the property. I was pissed off of how I was treated in that process and how fucked up it was. And so the issue for me is that it shouldn't take me having a massive following, being known or whatever as a black person, a queer person, right, to get a application approved that should have already been approved, right? I shouldn't have to be all of these things, right, and raise this type of hell to get the utmost consideration or clarification. Because what I'm thinking to myself is, how many other black people, how many other queer couples, how many other folks that look like me who don't have this quote unquote clout, right, that get rejected, that should not be getting rejected at places like that? Like, how many people are applying for apartments and houses in this city that look like me, that would have gotten that rejection or would have gotten that cosigner shit? And let me also add what was problematic about that cosigner thing. They told me that I would have to have 24 hours on a Friday, y'all, 24 hours on a Friday to produce a cosigner with good credit and all these things, right? As if I don't have those things, right? I would have to do that in order to get it, or if I get it, they will put it back on the market. So you know what that was telling me. They didn't want me to live there. They didn't want us to live there. And the reality is that, when they found out it was Ernest Owens, you're the acceptable Negro. Yeah, this Negro can live here, right? Because this Negro is something of substance. Mind you, the people living there before me were white Drexel college students. So y'all had college students up in here that was living here a year. I told them I would at least give them 2 years up top, guaranteed for the lease. I put all this in my application. And to be told that they didn't even read it and look into all the nuances and the details of it, the fuck? Yeah, okay. Okay. And I said to myself, if two black working class pen grab professionals cannot get an apartment at $1,500 a month in West Philadelphia without getting a cosigner, then what is that telling you about the state of racism, gentrification, bias? What does that tell you? Right? And so to me, it was a bigger problem. It's not about me and my experience and all of those different things. It wasn't about all of that shit. It wasn't about me and my thing, right? Because in that situation, y'all, I could have just said, you know what? Thank you. I get the apartment. But I don't want to give my money to an institution that I'm looking at with a side eye. That, when people show you who they are the first time, fucking believe them. So no, I'm not getting a property at OCF. I'm not going to live on any of your properties. I don't need the approval. I don't need the epiphany after I yell and scream. No, no, no. Because you don't get to get my dollars, my black dollars, and my value after like literally giving me an entire fucking slap in the face. No, I will take my business elsewhere. And that's what the fuck I did. And that's what the fuck I require any of you all, black, white, or anyone, that places like that are clearly telling you their process is fucked up. Because to me, I'm just like, so y'all are going through countless applications. And I'm just wondering to myself how many black people are getting rejected or getting conditional ask or requests like that are nearly impossible. You know what's so disrespectful is that my brother, I am the co-signer on my brother's apartment in around Temple. He lives in an off-campus apartment around Temple, and I'm the co-signer to his lease. How the fuck am I supposed to get a co-signer at 30 when I could get a co-signer, and I'm co-signing my brother's property at 18? He's 18 in college. He doesn't got credit. So, of course, I have to co-sign that. And you're telling me I need a co-signer? And the gag is the rent is the same price. These are the moments when, if it don't make sense, it's bullshit. And so I'm not even in the process of trying to hear anything other than it's bullshit. You know, because the sad part is there's so many black people I know in Philadelphia, so many black and brown folks, queer folks in Philadelphia that have had these experiences. And you know what they never do? They never question the system. They always just think, well, maybe it's something is wrong with me. Maybe I should have did this better. Maybe I could have did this differently. And they never take that step back and say, yo, maybe this is actually fucked up like I think it is. So let me tell y'all another story about this because I'm feeling all the feels and I feel like I really want to get this clear. So the week before that, I looked at Westlofts, which I should have already fucking knew better. But I said, let me look at Westlofts because they do have 2 bedrooms. And so our dream situation is to get a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom place. Like idealistically, a master bathroom, a master bedroom, another room that we could turn into an office, and then a half bathroom for guests. Like that's the ideal setup. We're gonna get there, okay? Knocking on wood. I know we're gonna find a place, and it's gonna all work out. Like I am blessed enough to know that I live around a village and a tribe of people that look out for me and will make my dreams come true because you all have done it already. So I'm not worried about the outcome and the scenario of what's going to end up happening. I will win. We will win, and that will be the end. But we go to this place at Westlofts. again, reading off of what we know, trusting our intuition, really looking at reading the fucking room. So I called in advance this time. And this was before. So I've had some interesting real estate drama. Like this process has been very interesting. This whole moving, apartments, renting, it's been a fucking shit show. But I went to West Lofts and looked and checked out their place. This was an interesting situation because I called, I said, hi, I'm interested. I told them what my wants were, my interests were. I was flexible. They said, oh, we have a bunch of, places on the market. Definitely come in. We're so excited. Let's book you a tour. They booked me a tour to go there. I get there. They have this real estate lady who is an older woman. She was a black woman, but she was very much looking at us like, she read that we were gay. Trust and believe, she knew we was gay in that room. Listen, I had on hoochie daddy shorts. But we was doing the tour and she just was dry. She didn't even, tell us where anything was. She literally, we walked past, because I didn't know who our tour person was. I said, we're here for the tour. They were like, oh, the person, the front said, you can sit in the living room, in the main room. So we go up the steps, go into the main area. She was sitting there the whole time. She doesn't say anything to us. And I didn't know she was a tour guide. We get there, we're sitting there for about maybe 10 minutes. She come over there, and then she sits next, she comes in, she's like, oh, hi. I'm like, wait, that was lady sitting there. She didn't know, we came one time, she couldn't, okay. So then she tells me, I'm like, okay, so what are the different properties available? I'm telling her my lease and everything. She's like, oh, these are all that we have. We're at 95% capacity. I'm like, so is there any potential openings? She's like, oh, we only have 2 properties that are available. And I'm like, 2 properties? What? That's not what the lady... I'm like, okay. So she gives us this tour. She shows us 2 units. First of all, she doesn't show us in. She unlocks the door. She tells us we can go in and check it out. I'm like, wait, you're not going to guide us or tell us anything about the place or no. She just basically opens the door and tells us we can go in and check it out. Okay, that's odd. So we go in there. We wasn't impressed, long story short. My issue with West Lofts is that it's the old West Philadelphia High School, the old one, which I didn't teach there. I was at the new West Philly High, but the old one. So we were at the old one where they've built it out. We go in there. The issue with that place, in my opinion, about those units, they were clearly not meant to be apartments. That's just my opinion. They're ugly. They're ugly. They're badly done. They're alluring, and then when you go in, you're like, this feels like a kid that's 5 that is trying to build a house, and they got the bathroom on the opposite side of the room. The bedroom is oddly placed behind a bunch of closets. The other room don't have any glass windows, but a window on top. It's oddly badly built. These were badly built, renovated apartments. It's not a good look. Wasn't a fan. Was completely turned off. And I'm just yeah, these are weird. I couldn't get into it. Everything about it felt odd. It's you're walking, you're just I should like this because of how spacious it is. Because visually, you walk in and you're like, oh my God, these are tall, high ceilings. And I'm a sucker for some high-ass ceilings, okay? That's why I like the place I currently live now, because they got a high-ass ceiling. But I'm a sucker for high ceilings. But I was okay, but outside of that, you start to see things are oddly placed. And so that turned me off. And I was like, you know what? Not too impressed. So I think her touring us was so annoying and nonchalant, and that bluntness and the dryness of it all, that I kind of was I'm turned off from the vibe. Everything about this is turning me off. So I went to a cookout for Memorial Day, because this was Memorial Day. I went and did the tour Memorial Day weekend. So I'm with my friend, my lawyer's sister-in-law, and she's talking to me, and she's like, we hear about West Lofts. So I find out that with her experience with West Lofts is that she basically went there a couple years ago when she was in law school, did the tour, and they told her on the phone, and when she answered the phone, right, because y'all know what it's given, they were like, oh, there's a bunch of properties available. She goes there, right, to West Lofts, and I guess they see her, and they tell her, oh, there's nothing available. And she looking like, what? I just literally did a phone call, they told me there's a bunch of properties available, this is weird. So then she knows it's weird. She hits up one of her white classmates from law school and tells her, like, listen, I think there's some fuck shit going on here. Can you, basically, can you go check this out? So the white friend makes the call right after, gets a tour. They had a bunch of properties automatic available. She filed a complaint with the Philadelphia Commission on Human Relations, PCHR, exposed them, got a settlement. So this shit is real. It is real. There is some real fuckery going on around these parts. There are real people out here doing the people dirty, profiling people, doing shit. It is real. I know it's real, but like it's happening amongst us. Even after racial uprising, yeah. This shit is still happening in broad daylight. And the journalist in me knows that there's going to be a story to come out of me. I'm really going to take some time to process this. But this will not be the last you hear of this story or of these experiences. I promise you that. I'm just floored, disgusted, and just thinking to myself about how many other people don't have this platform that are going through stuff like this. And like, these and like how these people running companies that's doing this, and they just think, oh, goodness. Yeah, so about how Philadelphia can be problematic at times. We go from good restaurants to shitty ass realtors, right? That is Philadelphia for you. Complicated, right? So, getting into complicated things. It's Pride Month. I know y'all have been showing up and showing out. And, one of the things, like every Pride Month, I try to figure out, like, what's going on. And so there's been this trend of people online talking about gay for pay and how corporations are gay for pay. I've been following this really great newsletter on the New York Magazine called Dinner Party. And I actually know the guy who's the curator for that newsletter. We went to middle school together, and now he's like writing this newsletter. It's so weird. He lives in Philly, but he does stuff with New York. You see what I'm saying? And he has this newsletter called Dinner Party, so I subscribe. But he was talking about gay for pay, and it's like, let's be clear, gay for pay was not a pride conversation. I mean, now it is, but like, let's back it up. Gay for pay used to be this conversation about how cis hetero men, right, would be, would basically pretend to be, or basically be sex workers for pay, or basically play as gay bait for money. So gay for pay is a common term being used. So like that hot straight guy that people want or looking at, and they want, with the right amount of money, some of those men might actually be down to play around in different ponds if the price is right. That was what gay for pay alludes to. And the women too, I suppose. I guess it goes not just with men, but I know a lot of men that use it, but it could go both ways. So that reference is now being crossed over for corporations being gay for pay. So basically, like, a lot of these corporations are like all super gay. McDonald's with that disgusting ass double bun shit they're doing. I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, it's like there's a McDonald's, I guess, in the Down Under or another country, European country of sorts, I believe, that they're taking to try to project this idea around same gender or same sex love or whatever. They're taking two identical buns and they're like placing them on sandwiches. So that like two front buns or two bottom buns, no pun intended. And they're taking them and like using them for the sandwiches for a limited time only. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. So two end buns together. Ooh, pride. Like, that is corny as shit. Or two buns with the sesame seeds on it on both ends. Like, that is the dumbest shit ever. Like, that's how y'all feel about us? Of course that's how y'all feel about us. Like, it's like, this is the shit that's like happening right now. But this is the culture, right? This is the culture that we're in, where people, the straights are coming with any idea to get attention, to market their stuff, but they're using rainbows and all this crap to try to act like they're for the cause. Is any of this money going to charity? Is any of this money supporting these organizations, or you're just using it as a way to make a name for yourself? And there's so many people doing it, and like everybody's mocking them now. Like y'all are like putting a flag outside your companies. It's just like so corny. And like again, as a Black queer person, it's annoying because this like I listen. The stuff people are doing for Pride Month is getting just as disrespectful as the shit that happens during Black History Month. And no one's talking about it, but like Black History Month is a hot ass mess too, right? We've been seeing Bath and Body Work try to put some fucking kente cloth candle designs. Like, this is the shit people are doing right now for Black History Month. And now they're doing it for Pride Month. And it's like the same stuff. It's that rainbow capitalism. It's that pride capitalism, to be honest. And it's just so disgusting. And it's a turnoff. And it's corny. And there's some places that, again, are doing things for Pride Month. But they're trying to now, give back. So I can appreciate that element of it. But a lot of these groups are not doing that. They're just running off of changing logos. Like, for example, OCF Realty is doing their whole Instagram logo, which of course they shut off their comments because they knew the people were going to get them the fuck together. But they changed their logo to the More Colors, More Pride flag, which is the Philadelphia Pride flag that I helped inspire. Do you know how disgusting that is? Like, you motherfuckers like literally are problematic as hell, giving Black and brown folks that are looking to get in your place. Like a Black queer gay couple on Pride Month tried to apply for an apartment and y'all gave us shit. And and the person that you're doing that to was one of the people that inspired the very flag that you're fucking running on your logo. It's disgusting. It's insulting. It's fucking disgusting and repulsive. It's just, I cannot. It's just, But you see how this bullshit bleeds into my point about more color, more pride. Like rainbow capitalism. What are you doing for LGBTQ people? What is that company doing? Nothing. What are they doing about equity? Nothing. But it's trendy, right? It's gay for pay. Clearly not, because they weren't being gay for pay, but tried to, right? Taking discounts. But that's the shit, right? It's that we'll do it on this condition, that conditional type of first of all, any support that's conditional is not support. Any allyship, quote unquote, that's conditional is not allyship, which is why I am oftentimes saying that there's not that many real allies out there. There's not that many out there. It's almost like a dead art. Most people don't self-identify as an ally. You should let community call you that. And those who do, like to say they are, oftentimes when you start really getting real about what that looks like, they're not there. So bye. And we're not even, what's so funny about this whole conversation about allyship is that so often there are people that want to put these disclaimers around what their thoughts are, their beliefs are, but still want to hold the ally mantle. You cannot do that. You cannot use that mantle. If you have very rigid, ideals about same-sex marriage or LGBTQ issues or trans people, whatever, don't call yourself an ally. Listen, if anything, you're just one of the people that are, not going to cause harm directly, but you're also not the people who should be running around here acting like you're a champion for the cause. Some situations, like, even with, like, when I look at racial equity, a lot of white people are not allies to Black people. Most white people aren't. Even when they say they are, they're not. Most of them, if you ask the tough questions, like, I know there's a quiz out here that really will put people to the fucking test. I forgot. I seen something along a couple years ago. I need to bring back that quiz. But there were some real questions that really got into the conversation about racial inequity. Like questions like, if your child went to this school, would you allow your child to live in this school or this, or would you support this if this? And it was like some real questions about equity. And you find out in those quizzes, white people are not comfortable letting go of that privilege. They're not comfortable with having to share some of that, but they really are people who like to be still on the balcony, but throw out a couple of dollars to those peasants and think that they're doing something because somebody might catch that dollar, the way that they pour money into charities and causes while still out here running and operating the systems that keep these people oppressed and make those nonprofits exist. Like, we call it philanthropy. So that logic, right, that model and that system that keeps that nonprofit industrial complex, that keeps that school to prison, that pipeline process, that keeps this inequity, that if you're a part of that, if you're a beneficiary of that, or you still believe in keeping that system, whether it's dealing with black and brown people or even with the LGBTQ community, you're actually a part of the problem. And I know that people don't want to hear this shit, right? It hurts their feelings. Oh my God, you're making me feel bad right now. No, motherfucker. What you're doing is it's actually hurting me right now. Like, it's hurting people. And oh my God. Like, just see, my thing is this. I know that there are people that cannot change their lifestyle overnight. Not, most people can't, right? A lot of us cannot just turn a new leaf overnight. That's okay. What I want you to understand is that rather than chase accolades and titles and get pats on the back, take the moment to just do the fucking work. And if someone sees you and say thank you or sees it, then that's it. But don't focus on being acknowledged so much of just doing the work. Because I promise you, if you're really out there busting your ass and you're really out there supporting and doing the work, people will thank you. Even when you still don't deserve it, but somebody will thank you. The problem are the people who are doing the fucking most based on what they think is their fucking most, and they're thinking what they're doing, and they're thinking that they're entitled to that. You're really not entitled to anything on that way. In a world where racial equity and slavery and segregation exists, no white person owes you a thank you for doing some part of reparations. Because if you stole something or you've benefited from theft, you don't get a thank you from the person that got disenfranchised. Oh, you didn't know that? You don't get a thank you for that. I mean, you really shouldn't. If somebody is kind enough to, because most black people are the most gracious people on the fucking planet. We are the most, I believe that black people, natives, brown folk, we are the most gracious people on the fucking planet. Because in a globe that has consistently tried to X us out, okay, genocide, colonization, like literally have tried to exterminate us collectively and ongoing, we have still been the individuals that, in spite of those experiences, we have consistently poured into people and have showed people a level of mercy and grace and forgiveness that has never been given to us back. Never. And that bleeds into other cultures, right? I think about pride and the consistent erasure of black and brown people that are also LGBTQIA, because I don't know, white people woke up one day and thought that they owned that shit. They wanted Columbus that, right? They just thought, oh no, this is ours, and we're letting you black and brown folks in. Yeah, they think they own that. And it's so disgusting because the homophobes within the black community, within Latinx communities, and other communities have also made homosexuality a white thing when it's not that at all. Transgender individuals are not only white. Like, this idea that same gender loving people that's a white concept or experience is fuckery. But that's what's happened, right? That we live in a society where that internalized white supremacy got folks out here thinking that one's actual true identity belongs to white people because they don't know what to do with it. Well, it's not for you to do anything with it. It's not for you to actually consider any of those things. It's not your place to have an opinion about it. Like, there's a lot of things in this world where people don't need to have an opinion about it. Or if they do, keep your fucking thoughts to yourself and leave people the fuck alone. You know, that's a real concept. I know that a lot of people are out here trying to give a thought or a take. No, sometimes you don't need to give a take. Sometimes you could just shut up. Sometimes you just let other people have a take. It's funny because I wasn't really going to talk too much about this, and I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I'm just going to say this for 5 seconds because I really don't care about this case. This Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation, I'm just like, there's better things going on in the world. This is not going to be the case that is going to be a litmus test for people like myself and others on how we feel about supporting women or victims or anybody else. If Johnny Depp was telling the truth, Johnny Depp was telling the truth. If he wasn't, listen, he'll get his day, right? I don't care. I don't care. I just think it's interesting how people always prioritizes white women's quote unquote injustice above everybody else. You know what case will continue to, be on my mind from the day I was born to the now? It's Anita Hill. I'm going to be thinking about Anita Hill. I'm going to be thinking about what that happens because that tells me a lot about who I am as a black man. It tells me a lot about society's treatment of black women and the most marginalized women. It tells me about the government and the state and how they do women. And it tells me a lot about things that Amber Heard's case did not. I'm not saying Amber Heard is not a victim. I'm not saying that she's a liar. I'm not saying anything. I'm just not. I'm sick of celebrity cases defining in the media, right? Because I'm a part of it. God damn it! But some of these people, right, white people, let's be specific, will drive their obsessions and want everyone to care. You know how many black people really don't care about this Amber Heard case? They don't. Most people don't. I went to the barbershop. No one knew about it. It was like, oh, Johnny Depp. You know, they were like, oh, yeah, I see on the news, but no one's following that. That shit got more coverage than, I don't know, the Buffalo shooting. That when actual black people got killed in gun violence. Oh, no, but we cared about that. And the time when they want to care about black issues is about the slap. The slap got more coverage. Okay, Will Smith's slap to Chris Rock got more coverage than the Buffalo shooting. That mass fucking shooting at a grocery store that killed mostly black elders going to a store, innocent people. No. That doesn't get the coverage. We're going to keep on talking about this goddamn slap between two multimillionaires who just need to figure that shit out and be grown men and figure that shit out alone. It's annoying. But like the Amber Heard case, it's like tit for tat. He say, she say. Okay. And there was issues, right? Johnny Depp, won his case, his defamation case, and she won one aspect of the lawyer through him, I guess, defaming her. Like, they threw their mud. They're going to be fine. They're both rich. They're both white. It's not the end of the world. They will be rich. They will be better off than most of us. They're going to be living in houses and environments. They're going to be safer than us. They just had one publicly embarrassing situation, but that will never speak to the countless working class women in this country, in this world, that don't ever get that level of attention and don't ever get believed or don't ever have a group of fans or stands defending them or not defending them, and women like Monica Lewinsky writing op-eds about them. Like, it's just privilege. And you sit there and you say to yourself, where was that for Anita Hill back in 91? I was born. My mother was having a contraction when they were talking about pubic hair on a diet fucking Pepsi or Coke. Like, it's ridiculous. And you out here trying to talk about this case and act like this is the big Me Too. Shut up. It's not. Sometimes we just do the fucking most. Sometimes we want to make something more than what it is. Sometimes celebrities lie. Sometimes most of the time, celebrities are not reflective of us. Like, Jussie Smollett was not a reflection of the black community. And he wasn't. Like, Jussie Smollett did some stupid shit, and that's just what it fucking was. And it's not going to set us back. It just was fucked up. But we have to stop obsessing over celebrities and acting like when they fall, it is going to fall for us. It's not. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock did not set black men back. Jonathan Capehart and Abdullah Ajima. Like, all of y'all who are out here with that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with this shit, stop it. But again, you all are public figures and celebrities and notoriety. Like, y'all live in a bubble where y'all think that what happens to y'all revolves around everyone else. It doesn't. It doesn't. Most people don't fucking care. Because you're all rich. You're still rich. Like, seriously, are you in jail? Are you behind bars? Are you, like Jussie wasn't even spending that long in jail before his privilege, right? His light-skinned privilege got him out of there, where now he's able to get a fucking B-Boy Blues' movie through BET Plus and get to do movie tours all across the country, and people are liking his Instagram, and he still gets to go out here and do his thug thizzle. So much for this cancel culture. Can't wait till I read that book. Because this is the shit I'm talking about. Can't wait till I read the book. Can't. I was talking to my masseuse, and I was telling her, like, she was saying to me, she heard an episode I did earlier, a couple of episodes, and she was like, you should, you said something bringing back shame. Yeah, let's bring back shame. Other people are saying that too. But like shame is not being canceled. It's not. It's reflecting your fucking answers. It's reflecting your fucking, actions. Gosh, I'm just like, people are stupid. And for what it's worth, right, we see this continuation and conversations around gun violence, right? So let's talk about this, right? The South Street, right, mass shooting, 13, 14 people were shot, 3 were killed, 11 are still living, but like 14 people were shot, 3 people died, or 2 people died, I think it was. And yeah. And so it's the news, right? 3 people dead. 11 injured. And this is, this is the news, right? This is the news. Mass shootings across the country. Everybody's talking about this. You know, several active shooters in a popular Philadelphia area. So let me tell you what they're saying. Reports. So basically, South Street was lit last night. Now, it wasn't lit as in like, oh, lit. It was a bunch of kids. A lot of underage kids were out and about. Mostly black kids, I suppose. They were out last night, and it was a lot going on because I actually talked to some people who was there, who was in the streets. A lot of kids, underage kids, were out. They were, I mean, let's be clear. So the Roots Picnic is not related to this. For what we know, it's not like everybody like Roots Picnic. That's why everybody out here shooting. No, it's not. There was shootings during Memorial Day weekend. It was shootings. There's been a lot of shootings. Like gun violence, in Philadelphia has been an issue long before all of these mass shootings. Before we start talking about mass shootings in America, like gun violence has been going on in Philadelphia for a long time. And for y'all who listen to the podcast, y'all know this already. This is not anything new to Philly. So this situation apparently was a bunch of people out. Just out and about. It was a wild night over South Street. I was hearing stories about a girl fight that led to a girl getting maced. People having to go to Wawa, to get milk to help her get the mace out of her face. There was another fight between some guys. There was some rumbles, but like a lot of young kids doing young people shit. Just a lot of shit going on, and their parents weren't there, and they were just out and about cutting up. So in the midst of some of this other stuff going on, apparently there was also TLA, which is a concert area. There was also some live shows and stuff going on that night too, because South Street's busy. It's a lot going on this strip. And so pretty much there was a altercation between some guys, some argument and some things, and then this person just let the chopper out, and it was a bunch of bullets and shots being fired, and some innocent bystanders got injured in this situation. So they were the ones who got severely hurt. I don't know who was killed. If that person was killed, clearly they might have been a direct target, but there was also other bullets. So much that even someone I know from my organization I was the board chairman of, Philly Cam, was shot. This is a man named Rusty, who's a 60-year-old, a white man in his 60s, who was out going to a concert, and he got grazed by a bullet. Fine, didn't have to go to the hospital, but had to go to the police department and everything like that. So it was traumatic. It was traumatic. And so per usual, this is what happens. We thoughts and prayers happen, but then in Philadelphia, we're a little extra with it. So then there's this whole massive uproar on social media. Like, oh my God, the trauma pimps come out. I don't call them poverty pimps because it's not even about poverty, but trauma pimps come out. All of the blame games, the finger pointing, everybody want to point and blame Krasner. Can y'all stop? It's not Krasner's fucking fault. Like, shut the fuck up. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to be really frank. This is a very frank ass episode. Too hot for broadcast, clearly. It's not Krasner's fault. Okay, every time, you know what happens, and I don't want to say that we can't politicize these shootings, right? But there's this other bitterness that comes where these inner cop loving, just lock them up energy come from some of these people that just love to use, Krasner as a target. Oh, fuck out of here. Fuck off. Like, it's not Krasner. I'm not the craziest Krasner fan, y'all know that, but it's not Krasner, right? Everyone to blame Krasner. No, across America, there's shootings happening all across this country. It's not like, oh, this is a Krasner thing. No, it's a fucking American thing. But then we get deeper into Philadelphia specifically, right? So yeah, y'all want to talk about Mayor Kennedy? Yeah, go to the mayor, right? Because that's there, right? Y'all want to talk about the police commissioner. Police commissioner is useless. I think the police are useless, in my opinion. Because want to know something funny? The police were there last night. There was a lot of shit going on. The police were out there last night, and clearly they weren't I don't know, saving lives last night. Like they weren't at the school shooting in Texas. Like, what's consistent has been the police performance, actually. While we're talking about, crash, let's talk about the police and how uniformly inept they've been in this entire process and how they were like shooting at when the shooters, like, I mean, and these shooters are the killers are on the loose. Several active shooters. They didn't even get these men. I'm confused. I'm confused. South motherfucking Street. South fucking Street. Again, I'm not saying South Street because South Street is more important than, Diamond and Tioga and the rest of these areas in North Philly that get shot, or West Philly, right, or Southwest. I'm not saying it like that because I know there's that other, crime reporter out there. We called her on the podcast a couple of last season, crime reporting Becky. I'm not saying that is what was going on. What I'm saying is that the narratives around gun violence keep changing and motherfuckers keep moving the goalpost. So initially the argument was, right, that, oh my goodness, they're shooting in these areas that are impoverished and there's no police there. If we had more police in those areas, in those neighborhoods, then the gun violence would go down. We need more police. Okay, guess what? South Street, there's no poverty over there. And guess what's so funny, or not funny, but sad, is that area is typically, there's police presence in that area, and the police were out and about, and they didn't do enough, right, to solve any of what was going on. So in all that, y'all didn't get those shooters on site? Nobody could get those shooters on site. How? So you mean tell me that in a crowded area with all that going on, guns are blazing, and cops can't apprehend the shooters? Okay. Like, this is one of Philadelphia's most popular dining, shopping, and entertainment corridors. Like, what? I mean, it's wow. So apparently, this shit happened like 11:30 p.m. Again, South Street is popular on the 200 block of South Street. 3 men got in a fight. There's a video footage showing that this encounter began as a fist fight, and then one man exchanging words with two others, and then one of them began to draw out a handgun, and then after this little brawl, a volley, like a bunch of like gunshots are ringing out, and then two of the 3 men in the fight fire at each other. One of them, which is the man who first drew the shotgun, was killed, and then the other was hospitalized in critical condition. But, of course, people began shooting into the crowd outside. And so then one of the shooters was a man that was in the area, was firing westbound. A responding officer apparently returned fire and apparently may have struck that person. This is what the police are saying. So, take it for what it is. Apparently the man dropped his gun and his extended magazine and ran away. And then 2 other guns were fired in the mayhem. What? But what? So they said the police have yet to identify the shooters. They said that they're trying to confirm there was more than one person shooting into the crowd. They don't know what the motive is. No one has been taken into custody. What the fuck? Again. And so then there was apparently another shooting that was happening in the area. 2 men dressed in black ran on South and 4th Street. Both of them were firing handguns. And the officers were seeking to hold that crime scene. But the shootings also erupted on South Street. And they're not even clear whether or how the shooting was linked to the South Street gunfire. Again, this is what I'm saying. The police, what's going on? How does all that go down? Like, I don't get how a fight is breaking out and nobody saw this fight. Like I said, no one's been taken in custody. But y'all bring him in Krasner for that? I'm sorry, I'm confused. Anyway, maybe if Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw is not looking for jobs, I don't know, like she did in New York, or looking for other jobs to get up out of Philly, because she's trying to get up out of Philly, y'all. She knows she's not going to get rehired when the new mayor comes in 2024, right? She knows that out. She knows she's out of here, so she's trying to look for a job before she has to officially look for a job. So that's what's happening. But this is what happens with this situation. There is a press conference. Mayor Kenny gets red in the face because y'all know he gets red as hell. He might cry or get teary-eyed and try to give this stern thing. Outlaw acts like she's tough, and then she doesn't do shit. They might try to do some special task force on gun violence or some stupid-ass initiative. There'll be all the, trauma pimps doing rallies and marches and, all that guns, not whatever, rallies and peace walks and shit. Shit's become a fucking farce. There'll be some grant money out and a bunch of these nonprofits that are just going to turn this into an opportunity to have cookouts and big backpack giveaways. They're not going to actually do anything to really address the problem at all. Most of them will just be having cookouts and cute little stuff and say, look at these cute little cookouts we're having in the city. And the city's going to throw 10,000 and say, look, we put this much money into anti-gun violence. And you're looking at what their anti-gun violence initiatives are. They're just bunches of cookouts, backpack giveaways, taking kids to the movies, which, I mean, Black Joy is dope. But, this is what we're doing with the anti-gun violence money. This is what it means. Giving kids ice cream, giving them a field trip, giving people backpacks, doing cookouts for free food. You using the money to sit up and, do stuff that literally should be used with other money, like Parks and Rec. What are we doing here? This is what happens. It's a system. It's a cycle. It's a broken record that keeps breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking and replaying itself. That's what typically happens with the gun violence. So how do I feel about it? Look, I got to a point where I'm just so tired of people acting like I'm their elected official and the solution spot. If you want to pay me to give a talk or a chat about it, maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. Stop DMing me for solutions. I'm serious. Stop asking me for solutions. That's not doing it. I'm not your savior. I'm not. I'm a black man. I'm a black man that's just trying to stay alive, okay? I'm not your black friend to whine to. I have to tell that to people. White people just love whining on my shoulder. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a safe Negro with an Ivy degree, so you think, oh, I can just bitch about my problems. No, I'm actually not. No, stop it. Cut it out. Not doing it. Not listen to it. Okay? Not there. If you want to give me paragraphs about how bad you felt with the world around you, that's fucking fine. But I'm not taking it. I'm not your elected official. I'm not your city agent. I'm not a consultant to do this work. If there's something with money and you want to pay me for my labor that you're not already getting enough from in my writing and everything else, then that's another story, right? Hound them, bug them, troll them, demand more for them. Seriously, it's not. That's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at. Do that. Hound them, bug them, troll them, demand more from them. I'm just want y'all to know the FYI. There's some black people out here that's going to do everything to try to, make themselves that savior. I'm not that person. I'm not here with the solutions. I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but you get what I'm saying. I don't know what else I can say sometimes. Because sometimes I think people will always take advantage of your kindness and they will take advantage of it like it's weakness. And honestly, I'm at a point where I ain't trying to do that. I'm not trying to be all of the things. Sometimes I just know my role or know what the role is. And I'm not trying to be this thing. Yes, I give ideas. I give thoughts. I write. I do all those things. But I think the problem is that and what pisses me off about this is that the responsibility is on everyday black people, not black people with some real political power, right? But on everyday black people and folks to do all the work and the fucking labor. And I even get the one thing that upsets me the most about all these conversations around gun violence is that the fucking government is so fucking weak. Policing is so much trash. These institutions are so pathetic that everyday people in marginalized communities, right, are oftentimes looking at themselves and asking themselves what they did fucking wrong. When the responsibility and the fault really shouldn't be as disproportionately put upon them as it should be on institutions that were actually in place to protect them, allegedly, right? My whole thing is, people say shit all the time, and I'm going to be clear, men, older black men that have these conservative ass views about the world, they'll say things like, we was picking up trash in our neighborhoods. I'm sorry. It didn't sanitation was a part of my taxes. When the city did their budget around sanitation, when they was asking us to pay our taxes and property and all this other shit, wasn't sanitation supposed to be a part of that? But you're looking at people who already have to work, stay alive, raise children, teach, do everything else to do the city's job too. That's where you got me fucked up. You got me fucked up when you think I'm supposed to do all the work that the firefighters, the sanitation workers, the social workers, and everybody else supposed to do, while also doing my actual job that pays me, live my life, find joy and peace, and do all of those things while keeping myself alive, well, and nourished. I don't know how possible that is. That's impossible. And so there is almost like a very fucked up, but the like sick ass like attempt to wear black and brown people the fuck down. Like, this is how you cripple and destabilize a race of people, right? By literally putting them in systems and institutions and in spaces, right, where they are given no starting point, barely any resources, and the resources they get are either old, dated, tarnished, fucked up, or come with weird ass conditions and terms, right? So you give them that, and then you then expect them to then produce at the same level as all of these very privileged, elite ass institutions around them, and then when they don't even get there or they stumble like humans do, then you fault them and tell them that that's what they deserve when they were already given an equal stake. It's fucked up. And that's really what happens in these situations, right? Is that we are consistently seeing with gun violence situations where you already have a community that's already being exploited, devalued, and debased internally, externally, and systemically. Right? Like, that's just a fact. Like, I'm not just talking profoundly. This shit is real. And then what happens is that there's these little grants and little monies and little things that come. And then you dangle it, right? But then you tell them, oh, there's terms and conditions. You have to have this, you have to have that. And it's like, well, you know these people don't have these things, or a lot of them don't. So the people really need will never get the leg up to actually be able to climb, because we're not really building sustainable ways for them to actually get to the place where they can actually do real work. So then the people get the money, or oftentimes the same people get the money, and they begin to realize they become the czar of this shit, and they begin to abuse their resources, begin to basically, create a, hierarchy, right? And also perpetuate nepotism and cronyism within these systems, hooking their family up and their friends, and just basically becoming, the same oppressive people that they were supposed to be fighting against. That's the system. That's the system. And this is what happens with the gun violence stuff. How many people got gun violence money, grant money? Who are the same people getting the money? And what are they doing with the money? Nothing. Okay, some people might, a few, but not many. They're not. And then what they do is they do the cry on social media and the shaming of these people and say, we need money and solutions. And then the mayor comes, do a photo shoot with them and give them some money. They get the pictures and the photo shoots. And then, they're quiet for a couple of months. And then a crisis happened. And they say, what happened? We need more of this, more of that. I'm like, well, what did you do with the money? I'm not saying the money was enough to save the problem, but then we turn on them. And it's like, well, the trauma pimps would have been created if the city would have done a better job, right? Any corruption can be built and birthed off of a system of inequity. Corruption doesn't just happen, right? It's either coming from white supremacy, which is a corrupt system, or it comes in spaces of inequity where we fight over scarce resources. Oh, it's a lot to learn today. Take notes and read some of these books afterwards. Google them if you might. You will find out about this scarce mentality, this fear of there's never going to be enough, and therefore I need to cut up or dissolve or be a crab in a barrel. It's a scarcity model. It's a scarcity mindset. And it is designed by white supremacy, right? Because they are, rationalizing and basically saying rationally, like they're saying, oh, you get this, you get that, you don't get too much of this, you get too much of that. So who are you going to for those things? And you're going to the fucking oppressor, right? You're going to them to give you the things that you need. And if that's the system consistently going, you don't see the pattern I'm talking about right here that connected from my conversation earlier. There is a thread, y'all. There's a thread. And that thread is what's keeping this whole thing happening. And so when I tell you all that I am cynical about the progress on gun violence, you need to understand right? That it's not because I'm just some mad black man that's just upset, or just like these people just like, oh, I'm just negative Nancy. No, I'm telling you all that the way that it's working right now is not working. You ask me what the solutions are. I mean, I guess I can give a few, right? Maybe, right? I mean, I'm not getting paid to do this, but okay. Maybe one thing you can consider, but for what it's worth, but you're not going to take it. But it's my podcast. I'll throw it out there. Maybe you could consider not censoring the conversation around policing. And what I mean by that is that the conversation around policing, the whole more police, right? More police, more police, more police, more police, more police here, more police. Like, that's the moment when the conversation just goes flat. If the conversation is going to keep going to consider and amplify the problem to the problem, then we're just going to keep having the same problems. It's just not working. Police are not doing anything to make any of this go down. Where are the results? We're just keep throwing money at them and no one's like, results. Like, I promise you, if you give us a system with better doctors and more medicine, you might see the life expectancy rates of people improve, the quality of life for those people improve. We know that. Research proves that. We know that. Give us more doctors, make more affordable health care, provide people more access to them, put them in places, and I promise you the quality of life will increase. Research proves that. You improve the quality of education in schools, right? You provide more books, more resources, more teachers in those environments, and then the area improves. The situation improves. But that's not how policing works. That's the one institution where that has been proven not to be true. Right? You give police more resources, more money, more things, and then the issue, it doesn't work that way. That's the one institution where you pour more money into it, it does not make things better. Y'all thought about that? Or y'all don't want to hear that? It's okay. Because many of you all benefit in defending institutional policing. Like, that's how you get your bread and fucking butter. You get paid to defend pigs. You defend this corrupt institution. That's how you make your money. You feel good about it. Listen, that's fine. Make your funky, filthy money. Wink, wink. Make that money. But guess what? At the end of the day, understand that the real work of the people is never going to be coming from those institutions. And that there's the illusion of helplessness. Just say you don't know the answer. It was so funny. A good Black woman I know on social, she has so much wisdom. She said something along the lines, and I never knew the way to articulate it, but she does a really solid job. Her name is Irene, and she says something that sticks with me, and she talks about how men, right, that we live in a society where men, Nikki Irene, that's her name, Nikki Irene. She said something along the lines, I'm not direct quoting, but she said something along the lines that we live in a society where a lot of men they debate and they argue to learn because they don't know how to outright say that they don't know something. Because to say they don't know something would, I guess, imply weakness. And so especially with situations with women, right, and queer people, amongst themselves, it might be different, who knows? But they learn and argue to learn. They debate and argue to learn. So, like, women might understand this. And people have done this, right? So, let's say, like, a man will put out a dumbass idea on purpose, or maybe play devil's advocate or something, but they'll say something that's stupid, and a woman will disagree, and she might say, hey, I don't believe this. I don't think that this is this is not correct or accurate or whatever. And rather than that man say, okay, that's interesting, can you tell me more? Oh, I never thought it that way. Most men in those situations will say, well, I disagree. They'll just choose to just disagree or challenge or debate. And it's like, well, does this require debate? Or maybe it's just, can you just tell me or tell me your viewpoint? It doesn't have to be a debate. But there's often this mindset that they will hold on to whatever idea they have. they might already know in their head they're wrong, but they will always position this idea that they're having some intellectual discourse or debate by making a debate, and then as they keep challenging and exhausting the person in the process, they're learning from them, but it does not come without them exhausting or creating some form of harm or exploitation to the person in the process. That men in these situations have to take and exert without actually just saying, you know what, I don't know this. I've never heard this before. Um, you know, can you tell me your thing? But it's never that. It's always this idea of challenge. And I know some men listening to this right now, like, oh, holy shit, fuck. And they probably don't even know that they're doing it. But I see a lot of men do this, and I see it in interactions with women. And I've been talking to my friend Amanda about this, about when I see these encounters, because I see it happen in barbershops. And I oftentimes see it in positions where they're dealing with people they don't feel are as powerful, or they might feel intimidated of, but they don't know how to just simply express that they don't know something. Because to not know to men feels like a weakness. It feels like ignorance. It feels like something that is wrong. And it's weird because it doesn't matter if this is an academic space or an uneducated space. This is a pattern that just happens. And it's like, why do this have to happen? Why do it have to be debates? Why do people have to just... I've seen situations where I have found myself arguing with cishet men about stuff, and I'm just like, why did I have to go through this? You clearly don't know what you're talking about, and I have to sit up here, and most of the time I just stop engaging. Like I told you many times, I'm not arguing and educating people like that anymore. Like that, I just preserve my energy as a man. But there's a lot of women who, in some cases, do feel like there's a passion and there's a compassion in them that is whole and pure and innocent and righteous, and there's a sense of them that make them feel like, you know what, if I don't say this, then they feel burdensome. They feel like, oh my goodness, I feel guilty that there's going to be someone in that world that didn't know something that I knew, or didn't know something that I could have told them that could have, helped. So there's always that mindset of like that. But I've come to realize in certain cases that men in these positions of power, right? They sometimes already know or will do the work privately, but the shame of acknowledging a lack of knowledge in public is what they fight against. And every blue moon, there'll be one of them that will come and humble themselves and say, hey, I looked at what you were saying a while back, and it changed my mind about something X, Y, and Z, but they won't ever say it that moment. And that's just, I wouldn't say it's weird. It is just patriarchy, it's sexism. It's homophobia. It's a lot of that, right? And we see this happen. Well, I mean, white people too, black people all the time, always want to quote unquote challenge. And sometimes it's almost like, why can't you just say you just don't know, right? You can't humble yourself enough to just say you just don't know. Like, why hold on to a stupid concept? Or why feel the need? And I'm not saying this is in every situation, but there are situations a lot where, like, especially on conversations about racism, right, where white people will say, well, what if, it's like, why are we arguing? I'm not debating you. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, and I've had to do that a couple of times where I've recently been like, no, I'm not saying I always stay silent, but I just have had to figure out, like, there are times where I just need to take a step back and tell people, wait a minute, you don't know. And that's okay. Or just saying, hey, I don't know where you got that from, but that's just not it. And if I feel like a person is consistently actively like throwing these quote unquote devil's advocates and boomerangs and these alley hoops of thoughts, I'm realizing you're not saying this because you're actually believe it. You're testing it out because you're trying to learn. It's like, is that how we learn? Oh God, we can't learn that way. Not in that way, not in that environment. It's too contentious sometimes. And it should not be the way. Men, you don't have to debate with women and learn from them. You could just simply if you're in a safe space and environment with a woman that you know, just say, if there's a conversation and someone's saying something, say, wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Oh, thank you for that. It just, don't fucking always feel like you gotta make it a war. I don't know, but that's the history of men, right? War. Speaking of war and patriarchy, so Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey are no longer together. Now, I talked about this a couple of months ago, right? When they first started dating. It hasn't been that long. I guess it has been. Or they've just been going public lately. I don't remember. I think it was Valentine's Day, all the flowers. But I've always had an eyebrow raised to this relationship. And I know it's not really like the most important news in the world. But, there's so much doom and gloom in the world. So sometimes I like to, lighten it up with dumb shit. So in this situation, Michael B. Jordan has been dating Lori Harvey. So Lori Harvey, as you all know from my previous episodes, is the daughter of Steve Harvey. Yes, the one who said Think Like a Man. How is that working for Lori? Anywho, Michael B. Jordan, y'all know him. Hollywood actor, big A-lister, big name. So Lori has dated Future, other men. Doesn't matter. Not the point. Well, one thing that's interesting was the rumor that Lori Harvey was dating Diddy, dated Diddy's son, that dated Diddy or something. And I think Lori's at that age where she said, I'm at the age where I could date the father and the son. That's funny. But I think, anywho, she's just had a reputation of dating a lot of big names in Hollywood. Not to act like there's not a lot of men who's been dating a lot of women in Hollywood, like Future, right? So we're not even acting like that's her shame. She's pretty. People say she's an Instagram model. She's cute. I mean, gorgeous woman, beautiful woman. Gay, straight, anything. Good woman you see one. She's pretty, nice. Seems nice. I just recently talked about her lately about that whole dieting thing, how she lost that relationship weight, and now she done lost Michael B. Jordan. See, she should have kept that weight. Let me stop. I'm joking. It's a joke. Calm down. But this is interesting. That's what we were just talking about, that Lori Harvey, talking about the 15-minute relationship weight and all that. So maybe she had broke up with him then, and she was like, I gotta lose this relationship weight that I've had because I gotta get back out here in the proud. Well, listen, whatever you do, elevate. So I don't know what the hell happened, but it didn't work. Now, I feel like I said this before. I did not predict or expect at all for Lori Harvey to be, in this relationship. I just thought this was a setup. I'm not going to kid you. I'm not going to tell you why I think that. I would be a little too messy if I go too far. All I will say is that I just personally knew from the jump that this relationship was not going to last. I felt like it was one of those Hollywood relationships where the industry put people together for various reasons that I will not speculate on this show because I'm not trying to be that messy. My besties, when we at happy hour, we will talk, but I'm not going to disclose or share any of those thoughts. If you think you know what I'm talking about or have an opinion about it, I'm not going to confirm either. All I will say is that in Hollywood, there are situations where there could be rumors or speculations about a star or an individual or individuals, who knows, that they want an interest, an attempt to try to cover that situation or cloud that rumor. It's happened in Hollywood before. Sometimes celebrities do things on purpose to try to, create an image around themselves or whatever the case might be. For different reasons, right? They could say, oh, this person only likes white women. This person's gay. This person's this. It could be 1,000 reasons. I don't know. I'm not going to disclose. But there could be a ton of reasons what can speculate and circulate around a person doing these fake Hollywood relationships. And I just, look at certain pairings and I just don't get them. I just personally never saw, and I'm not saying Gloria is not a nice lady or whatever. She's not a nice lady. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that based on Lori Harvey's, the people that she's dated and the things that she appears to be interested in and the men she liked, I just never felt like Michael B. Jordan ever fit in that category. We all got a type. Everybody know my type. I've had a type. Y'all know clearly, I've had a type over my years. My friends know. I have a certain type of guy I like. And clearly I married the guy that I like. He's Mr. Johnson is totally my type on so many different reasons. It's just various reasons. He hits the box. And my friends know that. He's perfect. But I think about some of the people I know, right? Where you just say, wow, that's a weird pairing. That does not make sense. John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, that does not make sense. They're married and I guess they like each other and no shade to them. I'm about to get in trouble. I'm not saying why or anything. I'm just saying that it's interesting. But then again, I don't know these people. I don't know John Legend. I don't know Chrissy Teigen. So maybe what John Legend gives off and what Chrissy Teigen gives off, maybe that's just for the entertainment for Hollywood. Maybe there are different people behind the scenes and maybe that's why the relationship works. I don't know. It's not my place. I'm just saying. So looking at Michael B. Jordan and Lori, and based on it, I don't really know who Michael Jordan has been dating. I think this is the first. There's been rumors about folks he's dated, but It's been like this is like the first very high profile public relationship he's been in. And he's like in his 30s. And there's like a huge age gap between him and Lori Harvey too. But it's always been a lot of things said about Michael B. Jordan's interests. And it just seems like the Lori thing was forced. And even how high profile it was like forced. Like it was like one of those things like we didn't care and we didn't need to care. And it just didn't make sense. But like you would wonder, well, why would Lori do it? Well, I get it. It's Michael B. Jordan, and to be honest, dating Michael B. Jordan has like kind of raised her profile to a group of people like People Magazine that would never care about Lori Harvey, but now like do because she's dated someone like Michael B. Jordan, and Michael B. Jordan dating Lori Harvey, has done things for his visibility and his appeal, right? So it's like very interesting they benefit from it. And those are how those Hollywood pseudo relationships work. They politically benefit off of that type of ordeal. And then, of course, they break up, and it's always a peaceful breakup. It's like this person, they couldn't work with their schedule. They had scheduling conflicts. It's like, really? What you mean? Jay-Z and Beyonce definitely had, well, we know he was doing his scheduling conflicts. But anyway, it's just interesting because, like, I mean, they didn't say that was why, but when we hear these stories about scheduling conflicts, like, oh, that means it was a fake relationship that they kept up for the tabloids. Got it. A lot of that. Like Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. Like, are they, like, do we really believe that relationship? I'm just saying. So according to People Magazine, it said that, quote, Michael, a source told them. Also, too, in journalism, when a source, who's a source? Is that the publicist that's putting this out, or the quote unquote person that's like the source? Get it? Michael matured a lot over the course of their relationship. It was ready to commit for the long term. He let down his guard with her, opening up emotionally in a romantic relationship for the first time. Mm-hmm. Adds the source, quote, they had great times together and brought out the best in each other. Okay, so y'all gonna leave my girl Lori hanging? So I'm confused. Like that statement, let's talk about that statement. Because my friend said it's A1PR. Girl, this is not A1PR. Let's break this down. Michael matured a lot over the course of the relationship and was ready to commit for the long term. Michael, okay, so let's keep it 100. Because I can't with the bullshit. Michael B. Jordan is 35 years old. Lori Harvey is 25 years old. Okay? Okay. What the fuck are we saying when we're saying a 35-year-old man matured a lot over a 1-year relationship and was ready to commit for the long term? I'm sorry. What are you doing at 35 years old? But then again, because I am so here for this, y'all know Future is 38 years old. Now, Future. This girl is there's a 13. The Future is 38. Not Future. Was they in this girl? Like, okay, 13-year-old difference. Oh, Fox. You old Fox, you. So, Michael B. Jordan is 35. Lori Harvey is 25. I'm trying to understand, right, how we're framing this as he matured a lot over 1 year. I mean, you're what the fuck? Like, you're a grown-ass man. And was ready to commit for the long term. She's 25 years old. You knew off the jump when you got with her when she was like, 24, 23 years old. Like, what is she doing that gorgeous? Like, she ain't looking for, like, what? Please. He let down his guard with her, opening up emotionally in a romantic relationship for the first time. This is his first time in a romantic relationship for the first time. First time? Interesting. 35, first time? Interesting. They had great times together and brought the best in each other. So, okay, y'all had these ski trips and shit and brought the best in each other. Like, what the fuck does that mean? So are we saying Lori just, got over it? Or did the money stop? Or did, at some point they were like, okay, now it's time for Lori to be with the man she really wants to be with. Go back to whoever she likes or whoever is fun for her. And that was it, right? The money was gone. He got enough out of it. He needed that for whatever he had going on. He's filming Creed. He needed to have some of that attention. It's giving him a story arc and narrative for himself. So now he can go to red carpet. And now a lot of attention and a public opinion believes that, he is a a man, a romantic man. He's a love interest because people wasn't buying that for a long time. And he did it with a black woman, which also people wasn't buying for a long time. That he did it with a woman. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like it's interesting that a lot of. I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Just Hollywood in Hollywood. So that's that. So we'll see who else he dates now. Hopefully it's real. Happy Pride. So yes, reclaiming hoochie daddy shorts is something that we, and this is for my black queer gay men, my black and brown folks, and the community. We need to take back hoochie daddy shorts. I'm reclaiming them again. I am tired of seeing these straight men with these hoochie daddy shorts on. They're doing too much. I don't give a fuck. I know the 70s. We're not in the 70s. Stop all this. That was like 50, 60 years ago. Cut it out. Okay? Like, cut it out. You didn't know. You wasn't even born back then. You in your lifetime have never was a part of any society. Men 30 years old, let's talk about it. By men in their 30s and 20s. Y'all were never living in a generation where it was culturally acceptable for you all to wear shorts this high as cishet men. You teased the girls, aka queer, black, and brown men who did this forever. Because we've been doing it. Y'all know I've been doing it, okay? Check the scorecard. Now y'all doing it. And I'm looking at y'all like, y'all trying to hijack this. Y'all know where y'all got this from. Y'all know what it is. And y'all just jump on trends. Y'all jump on trends so bad. The trends that we created. And y'all never want to give acknowledgement to it because that'd be so gay. But here y'all are, hoochie daddy shorts, no homo. Shut up. I'm sick of it. Again, pride, gay for pay. Okay? Somebody that got them in these shorts. It's in trend. I can't wait. I mean, what are y'all doing that we did? I mean, it was a lot of trends y'all are starting to bring back that we did. I need y'all. I mean, I love when y'all was wearing pink, the tight V-neck shirts. I need to just, queer it out. Queer it out. Everybody, the girls are dyeing their hair in waves and colors. I love it. I love it. The nose rings. Y'all gonna start doing tongue rings again? I mean, bring it all back. Because clearly you see where the fashion is going. I mean, cishet men are wearing dresses now. I'm here for it. Like, live your best life. The nails are getting colored now. Like, you guys are doing it. Now, if you can do this and embrace us and be respectful, we might be able to get some real harmony here. But the problem is, I'm seeing dudes out here calling other people the F-bomb, and the other F word, not fuck, the other one, and dropping that and then wearing hoochie daddy shorts. That don't work. Interesting. So, so, wrapping up, there's a lot going on. So I want to say this real quick. Dr. Oz is going to be going against Fetterman. It's official. Dr. Oz is going to be on the ballot for a Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. He is going against John Fetterman, who won already. Dave McCormick has conceded. Dr. Oz is really going against Fetterman. I'm a little excited about this because I think that Fetterman's going to whoop his ass. And I think that this whole Republican back and forth that's happened over these votes and these recounts shows you that he's a weak candidate. That there's not no strong consensus within his party, which means that there might be people in the Republican Party that might flip for Fetterman. But I don't see folks in the Democratic Party flipping for Oz because it's clear that Fetterman got every county in Pennsylvania to support him. Dr. Oz can't say the same. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal to me. That's a red flag. So I'm actually excited about this. I'm really excited about the prospects of what this means for the upcoming election and all that. I'm pretty excited about that. So go Fetterman. TV. I finally got to watch All Atlanta. I know the finale was about 2 weeks ago, but I took a break from it because so much was going on in the world. So what I'm doing is that what I did was I caught up and watched all the last 3 episodes in one spat, and that was phenomenal. It was good. That ending was good. Oh my God, that episode about the white guy who was he was biracial, but he was trying to get into school. I don't want to tell the story, but I'll tell the reveal. Kevin Samuels, who's dead, right? He's in that episode. He's a character. He's playing a role in that show. It's the most weirdest, creepy thing. In this episode, it came out a week after he died, and Kevin Samuels was in the episode acting and everything. It was the most bizarre thing ever. But what's weird to me is that Twitter did not explode and really talk about it like that, which lets me know that a lot of people have not been watching Atlanta this season like the previous seasons. But this season was also a lot going on, a little weird. I appreciate it. I have fun with it close to the end, but it just seemed to be just, I don't know. It wasn't like the last two seasons, where the last two seasons centered around blackness. This season was just very like focused on whiteness in various ways, which I mean was well done, but I also feel like took the flavor and soul of what made Atlanta Atlanta. So it was bittersweet. Bad Boys Club, watching that is getting a little I know it's about to come to an end. Well, this season finale is coming soon, I suppose. I just have different thoughts about it. I mean, it's good. It's trash TV. But I just, for those who do watch it on Zeus Network, I am taking issue with the fact that they're so pressed on like this hyper masculinity amongst even the queer men of even being transphobic. And I just really hate when I see black queer men, right, in certain spaces want to put on this fake ass bravado and masculinity amongst these cishet men that low key is probably, some of them are probably on the DL, but I won't even, that's not even the point. But it's just annoying to me because it's like always this need to, like when people perform masculinity, it's always in the most disrespectful, brash, and like thuggish ways. I hate it. Like, is this the only way? Like, is this how, like, and even straight men, when they perform, like straight black men can be like, who perform as, why is it that in order to proclaim this level of like, I hate it. Like, is it that serious to you all? I guess it is. But I feel like the more, and this is what I've been taught, the more that men are obsessed with how their masculinity is viewed, the less that these men have of talent and actual personal confidence and self-esteem. I just believe that highly. I think a man who is very obsessed with how his masculinity is perceived is somebody that clearly does not have other aspects of their life that they're, proud of, confident about, or secure about. I would tell you fuck gender roles, but I know that's a little bit too radical for some of you listeners. But at some point, like, it's just like, is this like everything that defines you? Is this everything that you think makes you matter? And if it is, it might be, but if it is, what does that say about your, these things you have to reflect on. Go to a therapist. Get help. P-Valley. I'm getting into P-Valley. I haven't been able to sink my teeth all into the episode I'm watching, but I'm excited. It's back down in the valley where the girls get naked. Excited about P-Valley. Love it. Very, very great show. Very just, when I think of intersectionality on TV, I think largely about P-Valley. Like a perfect example of just how to incorporate important topics, identities, fun, humor, drama, sex, excitement, all of these things into an identity and class and race. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful show. It's a very great show. And it is created by a Pulitzer Prize winning Black woman who is creative as hell. Katori Hall. She's an American playwright who is a genius. And she's clearly, right now, she's the creator of P-Valley, but she's also worked on projects, that are much bigger. She's an incredible woman. She's married to an incredible Black man. She's beautiful. She's brilliant. She's talented. Like, she's underrated, in my opinion. I don't think enough people talk about her. I mean, she's a two-time Tony nominated Memphis native. I mean, she's everything. She's done great Broadway hits. She's the co-producer of Tina, the Tina Turner musical. Is that crazy? But she's also the executive producer and showrunner of P-Valley, which is based on her play Pussy Valley. Like, did y'all know who she is? Katori Hall. Katori, last name Hall. She's incredible. Incredible. Underrated. Okay? She's done some incredible projects over the years, okay? Some of this stuff. She's done the Tina Turner musical, which Okay, I'm just gonna let y'all know now. This is what we're gonna go see in New York. By the way, we're gonna go see Tina on Broadway in New York. That's the play the musical we're gonna see. Haha. She's on the Mountaintop, which is incredible. She's done some great shows. You all really have to look her up. Like, check her out. But yeah, I'm obsessed with her. She's my new favorite person of the moment. And she's been doing great work for a long time. But she's a Pulitzer Prize winner. I'm just still like excited about that. The Hot Wing King was the play that she did in 2020 in spring before the pandemic. She's also best known for The Mountaintop, which is a play that like fictionalized the last night in Martin Luther King's life, which was with this play came out. I remember seeing it and I didn't even know who she was. I saw this when I was at Penn in New York. I went to go see that. I never saw a musical on Broadway, but I saw this play. And it was basically with Samuel Jackson and Angela Bassett was in it. It's been a long time. It came out like in 2011, I think, or 2010. Yeah, it was like, yeah, my freshman year, first semester, fall. Damn, it was a long ass time. It's been 12 years. But did not know who she is. Now she's still doing her thing. Yeah, she went to Columbia, Juilliard. She did stuff at Harvard University. She's dope, man. I can't continue to obsess over her enough. She's great. Follow her work. Great work. Yeah. So, I'll wrap up by saying this. Because I had a Twitter thread about this before wrapping up this. This has been a power episode. It's been a long ass episode. But sometimes, we gotta go deep. Sometimes we just gotta go deep. This was a deep ass weekend and month. And for those who've been listening to the podcast, I know I'm having a great time. I'll say this part about accountability. I want to say, every 9 months, and I talked about this on my Instagram thread, but every 9 months you see people that you used to be friends with or whatnot, and they, you'll see them in passing, either it's on a social media post or somewhere or whatever. And, you'll look, and at least for me, I'll see this and I'll be like, they're still living that lie. There's been this trend that I've seen on social media and over the years, and I talked about this in past episodes. I keep saying that, but it's true. Listen to this podcast. We're consistent here. But one of the things that annoy me is that there's been an obsessive trend of people performing healing and wellness on social media. And it annoys me. I'm not going to lie. It annoys me. There's like this obsession with people that feel like they have to disclose. Like, I used to always say, why does it seem like everyone has to tell everybody they're going to therapy out loud? Like, I will tell you that I'm very intimate. As much as I'm very out publicly and I speak a lot about a lot of things, I'm also very much a very private person. I don't think people notice this about me, but if you notice, I don't, you don't know this, but I don't actually overshare a lot about my family issues or relationships and dynamics too much because it's nobody's business. And I'm not saying it's because it's no one's business, but because I think that in life, right, what I'd like to do personally is that I like to live through experiences in full. And what I learn from those experiences, I share from those experiences. But I don't think necessarily disclosing every experience to me is the necessary aspect of bestowing the lessons learned. I hope that makes sense. So, for example, this is an example. You go down the street and you don't have an umbrella, and then it rains on you and you're wet and you slip and bust your ass. If I go out and I see a friend and I don't have an umbrella, I'll say to them, hey, you need to get an umbrella, man, because it's be hard out here. I don't think I need to tell everybody, oh, yeah, it rained. I slipped on my ass. I don't feel like every time you have to tell everybody the experience. And I think when I see certain people who oftentimes do that or disclose the intimacy of certain things, I often tell myself, why? Not to say that we don't share those experiences, right? Like I share my experience with, housing. But the argument would be is that in that situation, that's a real universal experience I think people could immediately connect to. I think some people share things for the sake of trend. I think some people share things for the sake of seeking attention and without utilizing it for anything else that's more directive. And there's been this thing where I feel like when you're in public breakups, not romantic breakups, but friendship breakups, because friendship breakups are real, it's interesting to see certain people perform or signal this performance of I'm taking time and I'm reflecting and I'm, meditating. And it's like, shut up. Like you're not doing any of those things. Or it's very pseudo and basic. And you don't realize how basic and fake people are until sometimes when you leave them, where it plays into all these tropes. I'm at the beach and I'm meditating. I'm taking these pictures of these things and I'm trying so hard to perform this. I don't care. But in reality, you do care. You care so much that you gotta let everybody know every single footstep you're making on that journey. And to me, and I love this about even what I do, and people say sometimes I'm coy and mysterious, but I don't think everybody needs to know every fucking footstep on that journey. Like there's fun aspects in taking some of those steps alone. There's fun aspects in taking those steps for yourself to learn. And sometimes you can't learn if you got a bunch of people watching you. And so there are things I've done in my life, and that, as you all notice, even with the podcast, where I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm reflecting on some things, but I'm not telling that right now. I'm not sharing that right now because you got to be in a space to think about things and process things. And I think we're getting in a world where we're seeing more and more on social media where no one is processing things, that people are too busy considering what this will look like here and what this looks like there. I personally think that there are some things that's just not like, it's not to be shared or not immediately shared or not necessarily performing. So when people do that, I do think in some cases it does breed fake. And so I've seen that happen with a couple of people that, over the years, I'm not, it's not like a one person, but like you see certain things through time, friends, people you used to be really friends with back in the day or whatever, and you see people consistently do it. And I think there's an art, and this is what I would tell you about people, and this is how you know when shit is weird. Watch out for people that reside in victimhood as a life sentence. I'm not saying people are not the victims of situations, but I think it says something when people reside in victimhood in every situation. In a friendship or whatever, where every situation they're in, they was always done wrong in a way that they are, woe is I. Mm, mm, Interesting. That to me is always a red flag. I've learned over the years that relationships, friendships, whatever the nuances are, it's never as black and white as that. It's always elements where you can tell a nuanced story, especially if they were real relationships, where you can say, hey, this is what I misperceived, or this is what this happened. But whenever I hear straight up stories where it's always a situation where someone is the victim, like straight up victim, and they play into that role, that's always a red flag to me that it's bullshit. Some situations are, right? People do get taken advantage of. People do get hurt. That's real. But I often think that there has been a culture where people are starting to weaponize the power and the vulnerability of other people's stories and want to create that for themselves. It's really fucked up. And there's a pattern. I think it's because people have seen the power of folks doing it. Some people think I'm talking about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. No, I'm not. But metaphorically, one would argue, right, there's a performance to this stuff where there is a glamour to it now because so many vulnerable people have done some really ballsy, bold shit. And now other people like, I want to feel like that. And so I'm going to create that. I'm going to reinvent myself in that victim role because there is a power there that I want to have or be perceived to have. It's really fucked up. And y'all know people like that. It's very, sociopathic. It's very disturbing, but it's real. And there are people who do this because they do want to divorce themselves from accountability. So rather than acknowledge what they did wrong, there's always going to be something else right I'm battling these demons, right? But you're not battling demons. You're battling accountability. It's, I get bad vibes. This was an environment. No, you had a guilty conscience. You did something and you're feeling bad about it. And rather than address it, you want to talk about being uncomfortable, right? We see this happen a lot where people will point that finger. We'll spend that time trying to, avoid accountability, run away from situations where they have to confront harm that they've done or wrong, mishaps and mistakes. So what they do is they disavow, they become a vagabond in these streets. And there's a lot of people that's like that. There's a lot of people like that. So I think for me, what's important the most, and I say this, is being in a space with yourself where you can be real and honest with yourself and be truthful to yourself and know where you stand. And every situation may not be the most glamorous, right? Every situation may not be the most thought provoking, but there are some situations where you have to take a step in the mirror and look at yourself and say, hey, where did I go wrong here? What did I do here that was different? How can I change that? Like all of those things. But residing in victimhood is never the right answer, ever, in situations that are more nuanced. So those are my thoughts. So, this week is clearly going to be a circus, given everything that we know this weekend. And of course, this podcast will be covering it and lots more. And as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.